And if you thought the media couldn't sink any lower, maybe you heard this crazy story floating around about how the Trump administration is now deporting babies. Last week, the Washington Post ran a shocking headline: 3 US citizen children ages 7, 4, and 2 deported with their mothers. Without digging deeper, social media lit up with outrage. Images of crying kids, tweets calling the administration heartless, and cable news anchors condemning Trump's cruelty. In an interview, Secretary of State Marco Rubio had something to say about this media narrative.
On the headline, that's a misleading headline. Okay, 3 U.S. citizens, ages 4, 7, and 2, were not deported. Their mothers, who are legally in this country, were deported. The children went with their mothers. If those children are U.S. citizens, they can come back into the United States if there's their father or someone here who wants to assume them. But ultimately, who was deported was their mothers who were here illegally. The children just went with their mothers. But it wasn't like, you guys make it sound like ICE agents kicked down the door and grabbed the 2-year-old and threw him on an airplane. That's misleading.
Yeah.
That's just not true.
Just to be clear, because I do want to get to the overhaul at the State Department, is it the U.S. policy to deport children, even U.S. citizens, with their families, and I hear what you're saying, without due process? Just to be very clear there.
Well, no. Again, if someone's in this country unlawfully, illegally, that person gets deported. If that person is with a 2-year-old child or has a 2-year-old child and says, I want to take my child with me, well, then you have two choices. You can say, yes, of course you can take your child, whether they're a citizen or not, because it's your child. Or you can say, yes, you can go, but your child must stay behind. And then your headlines would read, U.S. holding hostage 2-year-old, 4-year-old, 7-year-old while mother deported. So the parents make that choice. I imagine those 3 U.S. citizen children have fathers here in the United States. Yeah. They can stay with their father. That's up to their family to decide where the children go. Children go with their parents. Parents decide where their children go. Right. The U.S. deported their mothers who were illegally in America.
There's a lot to unpack here. So what actually happened? Well, let's break it down. On April 22nd, ICE agents during routine check-ins in Louisiana encountered 2 Honduran mothers with their U.S.-born kids. Both mothers requested to accompany their children back to Honduras. ICE then provided transportation, a bus, then a plane, so families could voluntarily depart together. No one forced a single child to leave without a parent. ICE Border Czar Tom Homan had this to say.
No U.S. citizen child was deported. Deported means you got to be deported by the immigration judge. We don't deport U.S. citizens.
The mother was deported along with the children.
The children aren't deported. The mother chose to take the children with her. Now, when you enter the country illegally, and you know you're here illegally, and you choose to have a U.S. citizen child, that's on you. That's not on this administration. If you choose to put your family in that position, that's on them. But having a U.S. citizen child after you enter this country illegally is not a get-out-of-jail-free card. It doesn't make you immune from our laws.
Holman also emphasized that ICE cooperates with the parents' decisions for their children who have U.S. citizenship. And also, if ICE had not done that, then the story would have been about how families are being separated, which we've seen those headlines before.
What we did is remove children with their mothers who requested the children depart with them. This was a parental decision, parenting 101. The mothers made that choice. And I tell you what, if we didn't do it, the story today would be Trump administration separating families again. No, we're keeping families together. So when a parent says, I want my 2-year-old baby to go with me, we made that happen.
Outlets like The Guardian rushed to frame it as a part of Trump's heartless deportation campaign, ignoring the legal context entirely. They leaned hard into emotional storytelling, but conveniently skipped the part where these actions followed existing law. One of the children, a 4-year-old with stage 4 cancer, certainly needs medication, but his mother asked to leave to continue treatment back at home, and ICE arranged it. Attorneys for these families say proper consent was given, no due process violation here, but activist groups still spin it as constitutional horror. Okay, real talk. Headlines pack a punch. When they miss the mark, they can warp public opinion and drown out the issues that truly matter. When reporters rush to outrage without vetting, they do huge damage to actual families who deserve compassion, not clickbait. And this adds to the growing debate around how media outlets choose to cover highly sensitive stories like this, because voluntary departure is not family separation. It's literally what parents decided. And if you're wondering why this blew up, here's your answer. Anger drives clicks. It's easier to rage about 2-year-olds deported than explain nuance. Meanwhile, the actual policy, honoring parental choices, gets buried, especially when the alternative headline is child separation at the border, which was the main narrative back in 2018. Yet again, a big fail for journalistic integrity. But let me hear from you and your thoughts on the story because it for sure is messy. We are dealing with families and there's a difference between moral arguments and legal ones. Do you think it would have been better to deport the mothers without their children, or was ICE in the right for listening to the parents' decisions?